Okay, welcome. This is Shabil Uganda e-learning, and my name is Nelson. And in today's lesson, we want to continue with our topic of decimals. In our recent lessons, we have been able to look at a variety. How can we give decimals place values? How can we find the values of these decimals? We had also calculated out some numbers. Those were in our recent lessons. So in today's lesson, we want to be looking at what we call arranging these decimals in a descending order. However, we had so far looked at the ascending. So today's lesson, we want to look at the descending order of these decimals. So when they talk about descending, they are meaning arranging our decimals from the biggest to the smallest, because the other one was ascending, where ascending means from the smallest to the biggest. So we are going to do the opposite of it. Of course, we still use the same approach or the same method as we are using our ascending order. Alright, so in this we want to look at a variety of examples as given here. You can see we have this is our example 1. We want to see if they tell you to arrange this from the biggest to the smallest, how do we do it? Okay, so we shall be able to start with these numbers of ours. So here we said that when we are to find out which one is the biggest or which one is the smallest, we have to look at these numbers very well. Okay, these are the numbers. We have 0.01, 0.019, 0.19, 0.91. Okay, first of all, we said we do give these values of ours. We first change them to what? To a proper fraction. After changing them to a proper fraction, then we can now be able to look out for the LCM. Okay, we said we first change this to a what? To a proper fraction. That's why here they were able to get a 19 out of 1,000, then a 19 out of 100, 19 out of 100. So they also chosen out the LCM, which was 1,000. This LCM is the number that can easily divide these numbers, the denominators. Okay, our denominators, we look out for the number that can divide our denominators, or we can say we look out for what? For a factor. So when they looked out for a factor, they got it could be 1,000. Okay, so when you divide 1,000 by 100, of course you don't get any remainder. By 100 you don't get a remainder. By 100 you don't get a remainder. So that's why they're able to use our 1,000. Okay, so also we said for it to come to this as a proper fraction, for example, let me demonstrate this example very well here. We said for us, when you have our 0.0 our 0.91. okay, let me first rub this. Okay, let me first rub this. Okay, let me rub this. Just trying to rub this. Right. So we are saying when we have a number of this kind, 0.019, this is our number. How did they come up with 1,000? We said when you are given a number like this, where there is a point, we put a 1, then we count how many figures or numbers are remaining beside. 1, 2, 3. So there are going to be how many zeros? 3. So now this becomes 0.19 out of 1,000. So this is how they got what? They got our first number. Then when they looked out for the LCM, I mean the LCM, or the factor which can divide all these denominators after they have got the proper fractions, then they got 1,000. So when you multiply here by 1,000, you still get the actual what? The actual value. Okay, so these zeros can cancel. Okay, they go for marriage. So here we can simply remain with our 19. Okay, so our 19, you can see it is what they were able to get here. Okay, so now also when you look out for another example, for example this 0.19, 0.19 is the same as 19 out of how many? 1, 2 out of 100. When you multiply this by 1,000, you should be able to get our 19 times 10. We'll get our 190 here. Okay, then also when you come up with this, our 0.91, we have 0.91, so this is going to be 91 out of 100. We multiply by what? By 1,000. We are using 1,000 because it is a factor that can divide all the denominators of ours, or the LCM. Okay, so now let's look here. We're saying we are cancelling these two zeros with this, so we are remaining with 91 times 10. We shall get this. Right, so now here we can determine which one is the biggest and which one is the smallest. So this one becomes the biggest, the second biggest, then this one becomes the smallest. So now in arranging them, that's why we can come up with our biggest, which is 0.91, okay, which is here 0.19. Then we come to our 190, which is 0.19, which is this one. Okay, then lastly the small one. So this is how we arrange these numbers according to what? According to descending. Okay, so let's try out some examples. Let's try out some examples which have been given. Okay, so now here we have some examples which have been given, and we have these examples as what? As okay, let me get here. Okay. So now we are going to solve out these examples. There are very few. Let's start one by one. We have okay, so let's say our solution. It's going to be our solution. We have our 0 point. We have our 0 what? Our 0.22. Okay, let's this be here 0.22, then 0.2, then 0.202. So these are all numbers which are given. Okay, so I want to try out these numbers and see, arrange them according to write the following decimals in a descending order. So now here we have to write them in a descending order from the biggest to the smallest. So now here we have to solve them and we see which one is the biggest. Remember we said 0.022 is the same as 22 out of 100. Hope everyone is getting it. Then also this one is the same as 2 out of 10. This one is the same as 202 out of 1,000. So now here we can look out for the what? For the LCM, or the factor that can divide 1,010. We can use 1,000, okay? So if we use 1,000, our 22 out of 100 is going to multiply by 1,000. So here we shall cancel these 2 zeros, shall remain, our answer shall be 220. Then we have our 2 out of 10 times 1,000. We'll cancel our 1 0 here. Then this is going to be 200. Okay, then also we can still work out our last one, which is 202 out of what? Out of 1,000 times 1,000. So this is going to be our 202. So now here we look out for which one is the biggest. So when we look at the biggest is which one? 220. Okay, our 220, which is 0.0.22 as the biggest. Then I will have our 0.202. Then lastly our 0.2. Okay, so now here we shall have arranged our number according to descending order. So our second question is what? Our second question is we have our our question 2, we have 0.505 then comma 0.55 comma 0.5555. So now here this is the same as what? 505 out of 1,000. Hope we are together. Then also this one is the same as 55 out of 100. Also this one is the same as 555 out of what? Out of 1,000. Then you also look out for our what? Our value. Then we say our 505 out of what? Out of 1,000. We can look out for a factor that can divide 1,000, 100. We can use 1,000 times 1,000. Should we be able to get our answers 505. Then when we get a 55 out of 100 times 1,000, we shall get, this is 550. Okay, then our last number should be 555 out of what? 1,000 times what? 1,000. Our answer should be 555. So now here we can now come and arrange and we see which one is the biggest. We have our 505, 550, then 555. So 555 becomes our biggest what? Our biggest value. Okay. Then our 5 what? 550 becomes our second biggest. Then lastly we come with this. Okay, so now you can see that we have been able to manage and solve out our number very well. Okay, so now that's how we can be able to play around with these so-called values. Okay, so let's also try out our next number. So our next number is what? Our next number is what? Okay. Let's try how to solve this. Okay, we are looking out for our next number, and our next number is we have our next number as what? Okay, we have our next number as 0.101, then 0.111, then 0.11. So this is our next number that we want to deal with. I will have this, which is our number 3. Let's proceed with that and move on. Okay, so let's get a pen here. Okay, let's get a pen. So we are saying we have our number. We can write here our solution. Solution number 3. So we are saying we have 0.101, comma, then 0.111, comma, then 0.11. So these are our numbers that we want to solve, and have to be able to see which one is the biggest and how can we rearrange them. Okay, so now let's try one by one. Remember we said this number of ours is going to be 101 out of what? Out of 1,000. Then also this one. Okay, this one is also going to be 111 out of 1,000. Then this one also is going to be 11 out of 100. Okay, so now we look out for the common factor that can divide 1,000 and 100. Okay, so we can choose out our 1,000 and we say this is now going to be 101 out of 1,000 times 1,000. So here we shall get our 101. Then we come to another one, which is 11 out of 1,000 times 1,000. Okay, here we shall get our what? Our 111. Then we get our out of what? 100 times 1,000. So we cancel this. This should be able to get 11 times 10, which is 110. That's right. So now arranging them to descending. Okay, descending. Now our descending is going to be, which one is the biggest? 111 comes our biggest, which is 0.11 is the biggest. Then our 0.11. Then lastly we have our 0.101. So here we shall have arranged them in what? In a descending order. So that's how we deal with what? We deal with descending of these numbers. Okay, so we have been able to handle a part of what we call descending, and when a question comes, please be able to look out and solve out numbers concerning what? Concerning descending numbers. All right. So hope this lesson has been able to take you well. To make a recap is to change this into our proper fractions, like here. After changing to a proper fraction, then you look out for a factor that can divide all our denominators. Then you'll be able to get the answer right. Then lastly, you arrange these. You arrange these numbers accordingly. If it is descending, let it be descending. If it is ascending, let it be ascending. So for this, I should be able to stop here. I mind we meet in our next what? In our next lesson. Okay, so we are going to be handling more and more and more. So I mind to say that our slide is ending here. Stay calm. Nice moment. See you in the next lesson.